All right, let's get right into it. Today, we've got a proper generational showdown on our hands. We're pitting the mobile gaming king, the RedMagic 10 Pro, against its heir apparent, the 11 Pro. The big question we're going to answer is simple. Is newer really better, or is this just a case of marketing hype?
You know, with tech, you always have to ask, is this new thing just a tiny incremental step up, or are we looking at a genuine revolution? Well, in this case, the answer is, well, it's a lot more interesting than you might think. This isn't just about slapping a new number on the box. It's about fixing a massive fundamental problem that held the last generation back.
So let's meet our fighters. In one corner, you've got the RedMagic 10 Pro, a real beast that dropped in late 2024. And in the other, the super sleek 11 Pro, which showed up exactly 1 year later. And trust me, that 1 year gap is a huge deal. It wasn't just about waiting for new parts. They needed that time to completely re-engineer things to fix a major flaw.
Okay, so to really get why the 11 Pro is so special, we've got to go back and talk about its older brother, the RedMagic 10 Pro. Man, it was a champion, no doubt. But it had this one critical weakness, a real Achilles heel, and it all came down to heat.
I mean, the 10 Pro was an absolute monster. It was built around that incredible Snapdragon 8 Elite chip. Its whole reason for being was just raw, unfiltered power. But when you try to cram that much performance into a slim little phone, you're going to run into a huge, and I mean unavoidable problem.
And yeah, this quote pretty much nails the experience for anyone who owned one. You'd get into a heavy gaming session and the phone would get crazy hot. And then, to save itself, it would start throttling the power. So what does that actually mean when you're in the middle of a game?
Well, here's what it means. Thermal throttling is basically the phone hitting the panic button. It's saving itself from melting by intentionally slowing down the processor. For a serious gamer, this is an absolute nightmare. We're talking lag, stuttering, dropped frames. Your performance just tanks, usually right when you need it most. The king of gaming phones had a fatal flaw.
So the question is, how do you even fix a problem that's literally baked into the physics of powerful chips? You can't just wish the heat away. Well, RedMagic's answer wasn't just a little upgrade. No, it was a total revolution in how a phone cools itself. And this slide right here shows you that massive leap perfectly. The 10 Pro had something called the Ice X system. It was pretty advanced, sure, basically a fan helping a passive system. But the 11 Pro? It's got Aqua Core. This is the first phone of its kind with active liquid cooling. We're not just talking about a better fan here. This is a whole new way of thinking.
So how does this thing even work? The best way to think about it is like the radiator in your car. The system pulls heat right off the CPU, but instead of just letting that heat spread out on its own, it actively pumps liquid coolant through tiny channels inside the phone. That liquid grabs the heat and carries it away, whereas super fast 24,000 RPM fan blasts it out. Seriously, it's a total game changer. Now, once you solve the heat problem, everything changes. RedMagic could finally take the leash off and unleash the full power of its next-gen hardware. So let's take a look at the specs and see what that actually looks like.
And what's so cool here is how that new cooling system is the key to everything else on this list. You see the chipset jump? From the Snapdragon 8 Elite to the Gen 5. That lets them push the clock speed to a wild 4.6 gigahertz. You see the faster RAM? That's quicker loading, smoother multitasking. But the most important part, thanks to Aqua Core, the phone can actually sustain that power. No more throttling. And this is what you get. An Antutu benchmark score of over 4 million. That's not just a number on a screen, folks. That's a statement. That's what happens when you let a next-gen chip run free because you finally have a cooling system that can keep up. It completely blows past the old limits that held the 10 Pro back.
Okay, but all that raw horsepower means nothing if you can't control it, right? Now, both phones have these gorgeous, uninterrupted 144 Hz AMOLED screens, but the 11 Pro really doubles down on refining the inputs, the stuff that competitive gamers live and die by. We're talking about the tiny milliseconds that can decide a whole match.
And the big one here is the jump in touch sampling rate. Basically, that's how fast the screen senses your touch. The 10 Pro was already nuts at 2,500 Hz, but the 11 Pro kicks it up to a mind-blowing 3,000 Hz. Now that might sound small, but for a pro gamer, that tiny fraction of a second is a legitimate competitive edge. It's literally the difference between getting the shot or getting shot.
But wait, it gets even better. The benefits of this incredible cooling system go way beyond just performance. By solving that core heat problem, it opened the door to a bunch of other new features. things you've just never seen on a gaming phone with a fan before.
So yeah, this new cooling system didn't just make the phone faster, it unlocked features that were basically impossible before. We're talking about two huge upgrades here: IPX8 water resistance and crazy fast 80W wireless charging. These are the kinds of premium perks you usually only get on a normal flagship, not a hardcore gaming phone.
And getting a waterproof rating is a huge deal. Think about it. A phone with a fan usually has a giant hole in it, which makes waterproofing impossible. But since the AquaCore system is a sealed internal loop, they could basically seal up the whole phone, use a waterproof fan, and bam, you get proper water resistance. It's a huge peace of mind thing.
It's the exact same story with wireless charging. Super fast charging creates a ton of heat, right? That's why most gaming phones don't even bother with it. They're already struggling to cool the main chip. But this AquaCore system is so good it can handle the heat from the processor and the 80-watt charging coil at the same time. It's just a massive convenience upgrade. So, after looking at the cooling, the power, and all these new perks, what's the bottom line? Let's wrap this all up and deliver the final verdict.
When you lay it all out like this, it becomes so clear. Sustained performance, the 11 Pro wins, hands down. Better touch response? Check. More durable with water resistance? Yep. More flexible charging? You bet. The 10 Pro was a great phone, don't get me wrong, but the 11 Pro just goes down the list and fixes every single one of its weaknesses.
So for anyone looking to buy one today, the choice is an absolute no-brainer. The 10 Pro is gone, and the RedMagic 11 Pro is the only way to go. Honestly, it's not just an improvement, it's the phone the 10 Pro was supposed to be. You should only even think about a used 10 Pro if you find it for a ridiculously cheap price, and even then, you've got to accept that it's going to get hot and throttle.
Now, I gotta mention the one catch: the software. RedMagic's OS can be a little quirky. It's not the smoothest experience out there. But this quote really hits the nail on the head. Buying a RedMagic is a pure hardware decision. People who buy this phone are choosing insane, benchmark-destroying performance over a polished user interface. They know exactly what trade-off they're making.
And all of this leaves us with one big final question to think about. By proving that active liquid cooling actually works in a phone, and that it's maybe the only way to unlock the full power of modern chips, has RedMagic just thrown down the gauntlet? Have they set a new standard that every other high-performance phone is now going to have to chase? I guess we'll have to wait and see.